TVC Breakfast, we now go into this very important conversation. Now, Rivers State High Court, sitting in Oyingbo local government area of Port Harcourt, has granted an interim injunction restraining the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Zamewele, and 2 others from sending any form of correspondence to the Chief Judge of the state. The other, which also affects the clerk of the House, bars the defendants from forwarding resolutions, letters, articles of impeachment, or any related documents to the Chief Judge concerning the alleged misconduct of the state governor and his deputy. In the ruling, the court further restrained the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simon Amadi, from receiving, processing, considering, or acting on any request from the first 27 defendants for the purpose of constituting a panel of inquiry to investigate the governor and his deputy. The decision effectively halts any impeachment-related process against the state's top executives within the period covered by the court order. Joining us for this conversation is lawyer and public affairs analyst Fred Nzeko. Good morning, Mr. Fred. How are you doing? Good morning, Mr. Fred. Can you hear me? Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, very well, thank you.
All right, very good. Let's just go straight into this conversation. You know, we've seen everything that's happening in River State. A lot of people are talking. The people of River State have been crying and saying that there's a lot of tension there and projects are being abandoned. People are not thinking about the people of Rivers. They are rather thinking about the fight for power. You know, Governor Fubara tried to be impeached 3 times. Recently, he made a statement that he said he's just going to focus on the peace and tranquility of the people of River State, and he's still their governor. He said that recently. But now we're saying that there's a halt on this impeachment. What does this mean for River State? Is this a halt or a total shutdown for the impeachment?
Well, it is a halt, but people are hoping that it should be a total shutdown of such process, which is not anchored on the welfare of the state. Neither is it anchored on the issues around the development and governance of River State, but rather anchored on selfish political interest of the gladiators. So a lot of people are happy that the court has become very, very proactive in this manner. And of course, it's expected that the court should do so. Any other argument will be very pretentious because for those who are arguing that Section 188, subsection 10, precludes every court from meddling into the affairs of the legislature with respect to impeachment proceedings, are only living in denial because the court is made up of people. The head of court is made up of a human being, and then the jurist himself is residing within the state, and he knows exactly what is going on. This is the third time they are making efforts to impeach the governor for political reasons. The same governor that, for political reason, was removed from office for 6 months on account of the declaration of state of emergency, and then has been brought back. Now has joined the mainstream of the leading party at the center, and yet the brouhaha has refused to stop and refused to go. So I think that it is temporary, yes, because it is because of the nature of the pronouncement of the court. But the Rivers people and Nigerians are hoping and believing and praying that it should be the end to this kind of shenanigan that we are seeing in Rivers State, especially with all the threats to impeachment. They should think of something else to do and think of the welfare of the state and the welfare of the people of the state, and ensure that the state continues on the paradigm of development and good governance.
Yeah, Fred, good morning. Specifically in relation to the removal of the governor under section, in chapter 2, section 188, subsection 5, do you think, in your own opinion, because if you look at the operative word in there, can any court or anyone stop the impeachment, the investigation by the Chief Judge, you know, of the complaints lodged or the petition lodged by the House of Assembly? And I'm specifically referring to section 5 of section of the Constitution, you know, section 188, subsection 5 of the Constitution, where it specifically stated that the chief judge shall, that's the operative word. Do you really think, in light of the ruling of the High Court, Rivers State High Court, saying that, or asking the chief judge not to actually entertain the impeachment for 7 days, do you really think this will not conflict with the provisions of the Constitution under Section 188, subsection 5?
The order of the court is an ex parte order. That's why it is called temporary. It is not a permanent order. And the ex parte order is based on the fact that there are pending issues in court. The governor and the deputy have 2 matters they have brought to court against the House of Assembly, and then the court felt that such matters should be looked into. So before jumping into the issue of impeachment, and court is a procedural environment where you don't jumble up things. And then the provision of the Constitution, as you rightly mentioned in Section 180, subsection 5, there's a proviso to that. The Constitution is the creation of man, and like we say in local parlance, that the law is made for man and not man for the law. And that is why for every provision there is a proviso. And the proviso in issue of impeachment is that it must follow due process. And that is why when they talk about actions of the governor, that his actions are impeachable, the law will ask, what are the actions? What are the specific actions, even though such will come out when there is an investigation? The temporary order of the High Court does not permanently preclude the House of Assembly from making such move. But then the court is saying, I have a matter before me. Let us dispense with such matter first, because before we begin to talk about impeachment. Because if you begin to talk about impeachment and you don't look at the matter, then the render the matter not get through. It will make no sense of the matter, and then make it maybe a violation of the process. So I do not think that there's anything wrong with the pronouncement of the court, because it is under a motion expert.
Yes, so thank you so much, Mr. Nzeko. Now, I believe this whole brouhaha, if I will, in Rivers State, it does tell us a lot, and there's a lot to unpack about how the legislative and the judiciary are functioning in that state. Some might argue, Mr. Nzeko, that the judiciary is essentially disrupting the process of the legislature. Do you think that this was a necessary measure by the judiciary to safeguard against, abuse in the legislature, or does that risk blurring the lines between the legislative arm and the judicial arm in government? On the other hand, we're getting news that some members of the Rivers State Assembly are saying that they will continue with impeachment proceedings despite the injunction. What legal consequences could follow if they choose to continue with this? Is it contempt? There's several consequences. Could you illuminate me on this, please?
Hello, can you hear us, sir?
Hello, Mr. Nzeko.
Mr. Nzeko, are you there?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. The line was
and it was a very long question. I'll take it again. Okay. Can you hear me, sir? Mr. Nzeko, are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Yes. Now, there's a lot to unpack with the legislature and the judiciary based on this whole Rivers brouhaha. Some people are saying that the judiciary essentially disrupted the legislative process, and that this might blur the lines between the legislative arm of government in Rivers State and the judicial arm. Do you think this was a necessary move by the court in order to stop the abuse of legislative powers? On the other hand, we are also getting news that some members of the Rivers State Assembly are saying that they will continue with impeachment proceedings despite the injunction by the court. What legal consequences could follow if they choose to continue with these impeachment proceedings despite the injunction?
If they ignore the injunction of the court, a valid injunction of the court, and continue with the impeachment proceeding, whatever they do will become a nullity, complete nullity. Whatever the exercise will be exercised in futility. They must respect the court injunction, go back to the court. It is an interim order, like I earlier said, because it came under an ex parte order, which has a lifespan. They must wait When that order is extinguished, they can now continue whatever they intend to do, or they can appeal such order if they feel they cannot wait. But if they decide to take laws into their hands and resort to self-help by going ahead with impeachment proceedings, everything they do thereafter will become a complete nullity and will not stand. The law makes provision that when you talk about provisions of the law, it is always with a proviso because nothing is cast on stone. The law says, yes, you can impeach the governor, but the law says that not only will you follow due process, but that you must ensure that what is done is honest and truthful. You cannot bring in your political reason and you want to impeach the governor. We saw that in plethora of cases that were brought before the court, up to the Supreme Court, in various cases of impeachment. So resort to impeachment for political reason has been frowned at by the court. And when you hear the members of the House of Assembly give you the reason why they want to impeach the governor, the primary reason they continue to talk about is that the governor did not obey the political resolution brought by Mr. President. And when you now ask them, what is that he did not obey, they will not be able to tell you. So that means that there's a lot to it that means the eye. It's mere politics trying to massage the ego of their leader against the interest of the law and the interest of the people of Rivers State. And that is why the court will not accede to their request, not only when there is a matter pending in court, but also because their request is based on politics and not on law.
All right, thank you very much. So we're just going to go on a quick commercial break. Please hold your thoughts for us. When we come back, we still have more questions for you. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. You're still watching TVC Breakfast. Very important conversation we've been having about River State, and we have Mr. Nyako there with us. I know you're still with us, Mister. Can you hear us? Okay, so quick one. I just want to speak about this particular issue where a lot of people have said that, you know, Governor Simlai Fubara has not been allowed to be a governor, you know, because since he got into power, it's been one thing or the other. And I also want you to talk about Wike's involvement in the matters of River State, because people have said that is one of the reasons why we're seeing this happen in Rivers, because the man has not rested. I just want you to touch on that quickly for me.
Yeah, but in the reasons of it, he has not been allowed to govern. I mean, from day one. They're not. So those who share that sentiment are extremely correct. In the first instance, when he was inaugurated, his godfather gave him the list of appointees to the extent that down to his aides, down to his chief of staff, down to his principal officers, none of them was appointed by he himself. All the names were given to him by his political godfather, FCT Minister Wike. Now, even after that, they continued. The minister continued to direct the affairs of the state from Abuja, and that was what led to a standoff with the governor. That all hell was let loose, and then he was not allowed to even conduct local government election. The one he conducted was annulled up to the Supreme Court, and until the sole administrator had to conduct a local government election that is subsisting in the state. So even as we speak, the chairman and the councillors of local government in River State are men that are loyal to his political godfather, his estranged and battled political godfather. Now, the members of the House of Assembly have not allowed him any breathing space. So at what time had Sim Fubara ever had time to sit down and think about the development of River State other than fighting a battle of survival? And in the midst of all that, he served a 6 month out of office punishment that you call state of emergency, and was brought back, graciously brought back, you can say, because people were afraid that there was tendency of possibility of extension of such of emergency. But now that he has joined the mainstream and the table has turned, and what do I mean by joining the mainstream? He has joined the political party that was used to torment him. Now the party is no longer tormenting him, but the party is now having issues with his tormentor in chief. And that is where the House of Assembly members that have been confused. They didn't know whether they were in PDP or they were in the APC. Today they will join PDP. The next day, the APC. The next day they will deny that they ever joined. All the matter has been in court. In fact, since the inauguration of Sim Fubara, there have been up to 50 court cases on account of issues around his political survival and his office.
That's right.
So how can a governor settle down to govern the state in the midst of all these terrible, unnecessary distractions? So I agree with the people who believe that he has not been allowed to govern. But I think that going forward, he should be allowed to govern so that come 2027, Rivers people will be able to know whether he is fit to continue or whether they will employ another governor.
Absolutely. I'll still take you back to the legalese of things, the legal, positions, which some of the positions which you held. But the lawmakers will disagree with you, as do some other lawyers. Because if you look at Section 188, which you quoted earlier, Mr. Shomi also quoted earlier, but if you look at the subsection 10, they're saying that no proceedings or determination of the panel or of the House of Assembly or any matter relating to such proceedings or determination shall be entertained or questioned by any court. And this is what the legislators are actually, standing on. And some of the other positions is that if you look at the principle of separation of power, the court is not meant to interfere, with the, proceedings of the legislature. And also, the people are of the view that when something has not formed, they are still in the process of impeachment. They've not even started. So you cannot, take a position or rule or stop an action that has not started, which is described in law as inchoate. And the third leg, which I wanted to now respond to, is if you look at the process stipulated by the Constitution, if we say that it is being violated, that is when the court will now say, okay, no, you're violating the provision of the Constitution. If you refer to the case of the case of Murtala Nyako on the Rashid Ladija cases and that of the Kogi deputy governor's case under Yaya Bello. How do you react to this?
I want to agree with you to some extent that if we face the law strictly as provided in Section 188 subsection 10, you can say no court should come in. But then, like I said earlier, the law is made for man and not man for law. Is the House of Assembly clean? What is the basis of the notice of impeachment? Even when the governor said he has not even received the notice of impeachment. The governor said so, that he has not even received the notice of impeachment. So he went to court. If you begin to argue that the court will not take preemptive action, then you will be living in denial, because the judge and the judges, the court and the courts, they are all in Rivers State, and they know what has been going on. Time has come when we will apply the law based on equity and good conscience. What is the sin of Sim Fubara that they will begin to serve impeachment notice? What are the contents of the impeachment notice? What are the actions that he has taken that warrant such impeachment? Apart from the fact, in fact, the House of Assembly members themselves exposed their nuances by the various interviews they have granted, that the governor has not kept the political agreement with Mr. Yeson Wike. And they want the judge to allow them to begin to scatter the state because of the provision of subsection 10, that the court will not interfere. The court will not interfere. The court is asking them to come. It is still the same court. Yeah. There's a matter before us. Before the judge is saying, there is a matter before me brought by the governor against you people. Come, let us hear it. And until we hear it, you should not serve impeachment notice. You should not commence impeachment.
No, but the legislators are actually they are in the process of investigating. They've set up a 7-man panel committee to look into the matter and present the misgivings, so to speak, of the incumbent governor as well as the deputy. So they've actually not begun the impeachment process, which people are saying that the court should not preempt whatever action they are going to do afterwards.
The court is not preempting the action. The court is trying to set to protect the law by saying and protect itself. Why has the House of Assembly members not gone to court to answer to the suit brought against them by the governor and the deputy? they should listen to that first. They should attend to that first before they start impeachment.
Yeah.
When there is a Yoruba adage that says, when two woods, when one falls on top of the other, you remove the one on top before you remove the one beneath. Yeah, so they should first attend to their matter in court because they are neglecting the court and then they're moving ahead with the issue of impeachment.
Yeah.
If you say, oh, no, that the court should not interfere, the court is not interfering. The court is asking questions and the court has the right to ask questions.
Exactly.
The doctrine and the concept of separation of powers requires that one arm of government should be a checkmate against the other. And the one that has the constitutional authority to checkmate others mostly and interpret their actions is the judiciary. So I do not think that the court is only preempting the House of Assembly. The court is asking them to come and attend to the matter before the court.
Let me come in here. We're looking for possible solutions. What is the way forward for River State? You know, this is the same River State that we know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had declared a state of emergency in that same state. We know the importance. We know the importance of River State. You know, it's quite a very pivotal state in Nigeria. But the drama we've seen there, the tension, it doesn't look well on Nigeria. It doesn't even look well as the international people are seeing what is happening there. So what is the way forward? Because we've been doing a lot of talking. How do we solve this? Is it that Wike and Fubara should come back as best friends? Like, what should really happen for us to see peace and tranquility in River State? In your own opinion, what can be done?
The way forward is very simple. From day one, we have been saying it. Keep aside politics and punish good governance for the people. Simple. Politics over good governance is a cancer.
Yeah.
Politics can only come and go at the time of election. Immediately after election and there's inauguration and institution of government, good governance will take over. And that is the way forward. The next, if you now ask, how will that be done? There's no need hiding like the ostrich. The problem is coming from Mr. Wike. It's as simple as that.
You know, I was just going to come to you with that. What role, in your own opinion, do you think that Wike can play in bringing peace to River State? I was just going to come to you with that.
Mr. Wike does not need to play any role. He needs to remove his hand from River State. That's all. And if they said Mr. Fubara has not implemented the agreement, what is the agreement? Fubara is saying that we just asking him to surrender the territory of River State, and that he has said no. So why are we not shining our light in that direction?
Yeah.
And that he said no, that he will not surrender the territory of River State to him. From antecedents and from the actions of Mr. Wike, right from the beginning, it seems that he's saying the truth. And when they say, oh, there was an agreement, up to today, they have not told Nigerians what the agreement is.
Yeah.
And Sim has said, the agreement is that Wike is asking me to surrender the treasury so that he will be in charge and in control, and that he will not do that.
Yeah.
When Chris Ngige was asked to surrender the treasury of Anambra State, and he refused, they dragged him around, took him to all manner of places, even kidnapped him while in office. And at the end of the day, he stood his ground and he succeeded. So I don't know how many people are with Fubara and they're asking him, stand your ground, you will succeed. This shenanigan will be over someday. And then if you now want the one stroke that will solve the whole problem, that stroke is in the hands of Mr. President.
Okay.
Let him call his minister.
Well, I wish we could go on and on.
It's as simple as that. And once he does that, there will be sanity in River State. Okay,
so the president also has a big role to play, according to you. Well, I wish we could go on and on this particular conversation because it's very, very important. The tension in River State is a whole lot. But we must thank you very much for your insights. Great insight, Mr. Nzeko. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Many thanks.
All right, still on this matter. Now, political tension deepens in Rivers as stakeholders seek resolution. Join us after the break for this very crucial conversation. We'll be right back.